Friends, yes, I'm in the car, but I'm not driving. The car's off. Hopefully I'll try and be quick with this one because it's raining. I don't know how well you can hear me. Anyway, have you ever had an experience yourself where somebody's broken up with you and you want to be friends with them, but you feel like you can't and it's confusing? Well, there's lots of reasons that this could be, but one of the ones that's been a common pattern that I've seen in others and in myself, and I've experienced it myself, is that, and this is a good question to ask ourselves, are they treating me like a friend? Are they treating me with the respect that I would come to expect from a friend? Sometimes we make big allowances for people who we've been close with, and it's not congruent with our true self and our own boundaries. So, for instance, you know, if you, and this rings true even still, and probably even more so if you're on board with the breakup. So, you know, if someone's broken up with you and you pretty much agree with it and feel like, yep, you know, that's okay. I don't really want to be with this person anymore. And they want to be friends and you're like, yep, of course, sure. And then you kind of walk away and you're like, I don't feel good about this. I don't want to be with them, but I don't feel good about it. And then you feel confused. Sometimes this can happen, like I said, because maybe they haven't treated you with the same respect a friend would. And this can come across in different ways, but mostly if they haven't been honest. Well, it depends what your boundaries and values are in friendship, I guess, but the most common things I see is when there's some sort of incongruency, when they break up with you, but they don't really give you a very good reason or any sort of explanation, which, you know, at the time you might not feel like you need it, or you might not even think to talk about that, but this happens a lot. People often can, end a relationship and not give you much of a good reason. They might not really know themselves. However, when you walk away and think about connecting with that person and staying friends with them, it feels incongruent and feels unsafe because you can feel like they haven't given you the respect that a friend would give you. So how could you stay friends with them? It can also be that sense of confusion, which is one of the hardest things to deal with in breakups, is confusing, because one minute they were loving you and wanting to be around you and enjoying time with you and telling you that much. And then a week later they're saying, I think we need to break up, and I don't really know why, but I just think we need to. This feeling creates incongruency in ourselves, and it's really confusing, and that feels unsafe because you feel like that person either isn't respecting you enough to give you an explanation, or they don't know themselves well enough to understand why they're doing it, and both of those things feel unsafe. And it's okay to feel that. You're right to feel that. So don't force yourself to be a friend with somebody that has broken up with you, unless you feel like they're treating you with the same boundaries and the same respect that you would come to expect from a friend. Should you talk to them about it? Well, generally that can be sticky and tricky territory. And this is where the closure thing comes in. A lot of people feel like they need to have a conversation for closure. But what does that mean? What does it mean to have a closure conversation? It means to get some understanding. Usually it means because you're confused and you want to get some understanding. A lot of people can disguise this as, I want them to know where I stand or how I feel. And whilst I understand that and have been there myself many times, somebody else understanding how I feel doesn't make a difference for me. And I'll never really know if they understand how I feel. That's something that we kind of trick ourselves with. Another one is, I need to express myself. Well, expressing ourselves can be done without words, and it can be done with words on paper. It doesn't need to be given to that person. So what is it really that we need when we're looking for closure? Generally, we're looking for their validation, so they know that I'm okay, and that means we're still looking for their validation. That's not powerful. The other reason we can need closure in these situations is so that we get unconfused, so that we can understand what went on. And that is understandable, and it's totally valid to want to be unconfused. But the thing is, if they haven't given you a good explanation in the first place, why would they now? Maybe they just don't value enough, or they don't have the courage to be honest. That's not going to change by you telling them you need closure. Or it might be that they don't know themselves well enough. They're not conscious enough to know what their reasons are. And that's not going to change by you asking them a question either. So if we can let go of closure, it means we have to sit with those feelings within ourselves of sadness, of hurt, and the hardest one of all, for me, definitely, and for a lot of people I know, is confusion. And when we're able to sit with our own feelings, feel them, and let them pass on, we are building a muscle of real mastery. A very wise teacher once said to me, if you can, her name is Jules Collingwood. She was my first NLP teacher. And she said, you know, when you can live without closure, then you can be a real master. And they may not have been her exact words, but the sentiment is there that, you know, needing closure from other people puts a lot of power in other people's hands, and being able to move on without closure means, A, you keep doors open, you don't burn bridges, but also you're in your own power, you're sitting with your own feelings, you're allowing your healing and your moving onness to be up to you. Hopefully this is helpful for some people. A reminder, a lot of people talk about this. Closure is a really big deal, and staying friends is a really big deal after relationships end. As always, value your own boundaries. And I think we'll leave it there for now. But a reminder to those of you who would like to come, we're having our masterclass tomorrow night, live Zoom call with me for an hour, Tuesday night. First session's free. If you want to come, I will put the link in the comments. I'll hopefully remember to do that. Otherwise, go to my website and find the masterclass. And we'll be talking about needs and neediness, but there is a section for live open questions, so any questions are always welcome. I love you all. Thanks for listening and watching. Bye.